Hi, I'm Ems, aka on Deck and Wings. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. I have a previous YouTube video where I review these Playmarkers from AK Interactive. They're a brush pen, so you squeeze out the paint and it comes out, so these are a more convenient way of painting. I'll pop the link in the description below where you can find this video. Anyway, I was curious about making my own version of these. Fortunately, I came across these on the internet. These are empty brush pens, and I've got two different types here. I'll put the link in the description below as to where I got these. These were really cheap from China. You can buy them in art stores in most countries anyway, but they're a lot more expensive. I got a pack which came in a set of 6, and the cool thing about these ones is they have different brush tips and brush sizes, so you have some round brushes. But the cool thing is as well, you have some flat brushes, which I think would be great for painting flat surfaces like terrain and tanks. That was one of the issues I raised with the Playmaker pens. They only had one brush tip, so it's cool to see how these ones will turn out. I also got these individually packaged ones. These come in small, medium, and large, and they come in 2 parts. I could only find these in round tips, not the flat ones. And they have this little stopper on the end of them you will have to take off before you can put it together. I thought that was quite an interesting feature because you could take it apart and then put the stopper on top, so you could switch out paints if you want to, or stop them drying out. I'm going to fill a few of these pens up and demonstrate them, so I'm going to use some standard acrylic paint, some contrast or speed paint, washes, and some oils as well. I have some little funnels, and these will come in handy with Citadel paints or oil paint. If you're going to be following this process, it's probably better using some medium thinner or adding some water. Now, if you're going to be using water, probably put a little bit of disinfectant in so it doesn't go bad. Anyway, if you've got dropper bottles, you can just squeeze them straight in like this. If you're struggling to get the paint in, it's worth shoving it in with a paintbrush. And also, I would recommend wearing gloves if you're going to be using oils. Now, I did have a problem at first. The paint just would not come out in either of the brush pens. The problem I had was this little white cylinder sponge thing, and this was inside both of the types of brushes. So I grabbed a cocktail stick and then I shoved it inside. And what I managed to do is pull out the brush. So this is the brush which is in 2 parts, which came individually, and inside you'll find that little white thing. Like I said, this was also the case with the larger brushes, which came in a pack of 6. Now, unlike the other brush pens, the entire brush section won't come out of these, but if you just grab a cocktail stick and shove it inside, you can remove the little white thing. So if you put it inside, and then you'll be able to get it out, or with some tweezers, and you can just get that black part out as well, which cases it. Once I managed to get those little white sponges out, the brushes worked for me. And what I've done with this one is I've got Scale 75 Crimson from the Fantasy game range, and I've added about 1/3 of thinning medium. To add the paint to the brush, you have to squeeze it. Now be careful because it can just well up there, so you don't need to put too much pressure on it. And it's probably just worth putting it on a piece of tissue paper first, so there's not too much excess. I really like the flat brush, as this is great for terrain or for painting up tanks on flat surfaces, and you could even probably dry brush with these to some extent. I have another standard acrylic paint here. I've got Hataka Hobbies Green. Now this is a lot thinner than the Scale 75 paint, so you don't really need to add as much thinner depending on which paint brand that you're using. Just be careful if your paint's thinner, because it will come out easier than if your paint's thicker. Next up, I filled this one with contrast paint. This is Luxion Purple from Citadel. I didn't need to add any thinner to this as it's a speed paint, so it's already very thin. The Army Painter do have a range of speed paint pens, but these are quite expensive. These are like nearly £5 a piece, so you could easily just make your own like I've shown you if you wanted to. Next up, we have a brush with wash in it. This is Agrax Earthshade. I chose to put this into one of the flat brushes as it'll be easier to get into the recesses. Making your own brushes like this is fantastic for speed painting terrain. But washes like this would be great for painting up models as well. Lastly, I have a brush filled with oil paint. This is Abertile Long 502, the turquoise. And if you're going to be using oils, you want to use a medium thinner or a white spirit. This is probably my favourite one to use, as oil paints can be a bit thick and messy to work with. So having one ready to go thinned down is brilliant for painting over terrain or models. If you're working with oil paints like this, it's worth rubbing off the excess with the Q-tip. So overall, do I think these were a good idea? Yes, I think they are. Now, I still do like the Playmarkers. I think they're better quality, and I like the fact that you just press the button at the back to get the paint to come out. The brushes are also a better quality, I would say. But like I said, with price-wise and the fact that you can actually put your own paint into these are better in some ways. Obviously, it's a case of convenience. Like I said, you have to take that little bit of sponge out first, and then you'll have to thin down your paints and try and get the right consistency, so it might be a little bit messy and time-consuming. But I think making your own brush pens is a great way of quickly painting up your miniatures. And I was especially impressed with the oil paint brush and the wash one. I have a Patreon if you want to support me, and I'm all over social media, so I'll put those links in the description below. As always, thank you for watching. Remember to enjoy your hobbies for yourself. And at the end of the day, just war dollies. I'll see you in the next one.